A very good morning to our honorable guests, Professor Vishna Devi Nadarajah, Pro Vice Chancellor, Education, Associate Professor Dr. Kang Beng, the Director of Learning Resources IMU, our dearest participants, immediate past President, Librarians Association of Malaysia, dearest lecturers, staff, students, and everyone present today. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone for making time to come to this event. With that, I would like to welcome all of you to the Learning Resource Festival 2019. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Vishna Devi Nadarajah to give an opening speech and launch the event.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for coming to the Learning Resource Festival. In fact, this is an event that IMU has been organizing for a few years, but as you know, this year our program is a bit different, and I'd like to thank the organizing committee for arranging this. So, in fact, it gives me great pleasure to invite not only people from academia into this event, but also students and staff from schools in Malaysia. I understand we have now quite a few entries for our Innovacy competition, whereby we have about 34 competitors, and many of them are from secondary schools. So, well done to that. The aim of the Learning Resource Festival is to provide opportunities to showcase innovations, to challenge our imagination, and to explore the future of learning and enhancement of education. So there will be an opportunity later for you to visit all the education showcase. As you can see, outside we have some exhibition booths, but on the atrium downstairs, we actually have the Innovacy showcase. Now, the theme of this meeting is actually personalized learning and learning analytics. Now, this is not something new to IMU. We have been doing something like this in the direction of giving our students feedback to develop their personalized learning plans. But what we want to do is we want to gather data from different parts of the student learning experience to actually give them nudges on how to improve their performance. A bit like the Fitbit that we wear, right? If we are not moving, it comes and say, get up, move, right? So the same thing, if we can look at our students, not being a big brother, not monitoring them, but to encourage them that, for example, if they had not been going to the library or trying the online learning system, can we send them reminders? Hey, this is good, or why don't you read this, or why don't you try out that? So we are actually developing in IMU a personalized learning plan. And our aim is for students to know what you need to learn, why you need to learn it, how you are going to learn it, to ask questions within themselves, and they actually set their path in learning. Now, this event is for 2 days. We have the innovation competition. We also actually have a keynote address and a plenary talk by two assessment experts. So Trudy Roberts and John Norsini, and you'll be wondering why don't I see them here. So there's been a bit of a mix-up in the morning where they are actually on the way to be fetched. So some mix-up that with traffic delays. So they will come here probably by, I think by 9:30. So what we're going to do is, and I'll do this on behalf of the organizing team, is we're going to switch just one event. We will do the symposia first, and then we'll continue with the plenaries. So please bear with us because it's just a bit of the traffic and they are a bit delayed. We house our guests at the center of KL. So for all of you know, coming from the center of KL sometimes can be a bit of a challenge, right? So there will be a small switch there. But we actually have the symposia and panel discussion in which you will hear after this about personalized learning impact, IR 4.0 and experience sharing. And tomorrow also we have another great talk on personalized learning and library roles. I think this is an important part for us to understand what is the role of the library as a learning resource in directing personalized learning. And there will be a Read at Uni campaign skit presented by our students, followed by a soft launch of Read at Uni by our Chief Librarian, Haja Zuhana. So, long but short, I think the aim of the festival is to engage, to just enlighten us, but for us to think about how can we improve our teaching and learning to engage better with students, and technology is one of the means. And these innovations that I hope to see in the next 2 days will also be a platform or a mode for us to use. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank especially the organizing committee led by our librarian, Robaya, and her organizing team, because they took up the challenge to do something different this year, and I think they have done it pretty well. So can we give them a big hand? Huh? So I also like to take the opportunity to thank the honorable speakers, participants, and most importantly, the vendors who have supported us, because as you can see outside, there are a few vendors that have come and opened up booths, so please feel free to visit and ask them and engage with them also. I think we are going to have one of the prisons project are going to be here to actually showcase items that are made by residents of some of our Malaysian prisons. So if you like to, please do support them. I have supported them before. I've bought a beautiful piece of batik from them. So they'll be here later with some of their exhibits. So those who want to plan for, well, Deepawali, I'm not sure whether you want to wear batik, but for next Hari Raya, you better buy now, and you can sew it in time for next year, right? So now I have a speech here. Actually, the team was so in detail that they gave me a speech, and for those who know me very well, it's hard for me to follow speeches, but I'm going to follow this to the dot. Finally, this is an opportune time for me to declare the official opening of the Learning Resource Festival 2019 with the theme Personalized Learning and Learning Analytics and Adaptive Learning Technologies. I wish all of you 2 fruitful days of interesting and engaging events. I hope this will be beneficial to all of you. Thank you very much for all your support.
Thank you, Professor Vishna. Moving on, I would like to now invite Professor Vishna to officially launch the event. With that, everyone, it officially marks the start of Learning Resource Festival 2019. Alright, so now we shall move on with the first panel discussion. I'd like to pass the mic to our moderator, Mr. Hasnain Zafar.
Okay, I will start with Dr. Munna.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. So I was invited because of actually Puan Fariza was my student. So, we have this all networking and we are still in touch, and that's why I'm here. But nevertheless, when we talk about personalized learning, especially the impact of IR 4.0, now, actually at USM, we've talked about this for maybe 2 to 3 years ago. But even though I am in instructional technology, I have not heard about it at that time. So imagine that. And we're talking about IoT, robotics, AR, VR, so we have that, no problem at all. But when it comes to IR 4.0, meaning that we believe that it is a convergence of all these different technologies. So meaning that at one time when we are talking about AR, AR is standalone. VR is standalone. And so, meaning that when the convergence is there, then people are thinking how it converge. When it started off, the e-learning system, I'm sure that most of the higher institution of education uses Moodle because it is actually open source. And so USM also uses that. We have this e-learning at USM, whereby many people are using it and they don't realize actually the progression that occurs. For example, people are thinking that they are in IR 4.0, but they are not, Education 4.0, because they are still at Web 3. Meaning that when we have this Moodle as an example, it actually has many activities that you can do in there. For example, you have the forum. We can upload, download, and share our resources. But later on, you will notice it has badges. So you include the gamification factors in there. Okay, and then suddenly you have this big analytics, big data, and you can do learning analytics in there. That's where the convergence of all these different things that goes into the AI, and you have the IR 4.0. As far as the impact of 4.0 on education, I think the moderator will have questions later on, and we can actually talk about it later on. But however, I wanted to also mention that USM has this particular group, which is called Makers at USM. We are going, what I call it, interdisciplinary, in the sense that we integrated students, staff, lecturers, as well as alumni, for the sake of promoting the creativity of people. So right now, the programs that we have a lot of students going for competition and robotics. And the instructors or the lecturers are not there yet. It's only on the students component. But nevertheless, when we talk about the IR 4.0, it is so we believe that it's a convergence of all these different IoT and so on and so forth, and then talking about distributed learning, adaptive learning, as what what do you call it, Vishna mentioned earlier on. Okay, so I'll pass on to the next speaker because if not, I'll be hoarding the session.
Okay, now I will allow Dr. Kang to actually give some opening remarks or introduction about IR 4.0.
Okay, I need the clicker because I've got a slide ready. So Nazrul, don't worry. I usually talk for 1 hour. I promise you I won't. Right. So that diagram's a bit small, but you can look at it on your right or on your left, okay? You can see it's the same thing there. But what I wanted to talk about, and let's see, this is the start of it. Now, future work skills. Now, in future work skills, there are two keys there. One is the key driver, and one is the key skill. Now, these are future drivers for 2020 and beyond. So what's going to happen? Look, what's going to happen is the rise of smart machines and systems. Systems will start talking to one another, and they will begin to have an assemblage of some intelligence. Media will become a new ecology. More and more information will be out there, right? You're already seeing this. For example, you're already beginning to see patients who have already read up about their disease before they come to you. And they're questioning you. And it's going to be, you know, a computational world, and new infrastructure, superstructures will be built. And that's what you're going to see coming up in the next 5 years to 10 years. Now, beyond there, I just want to also give you a glimpse, because that's what the connected world, working world will be. What will be the glimpse of our future in terms of learning? All right? Now, we can work up from one scale down to another scale. Scaling means it can be small size, it can be large size as well. So learning can take place in multiple settings. And not only that, you will see that learning will shift from the halls of learning, the lecture halls, to collaborative spaces. We already see that. The lecture rooms is not the ultimate place to learn. We all know that. All right? It's the ultimate place for delivery because only one lecturer to 100 students, but it's not the best place to learn. So these convergence will take place. Not only that, don't forget, the students now can learn at any time, any place, unless they want to learn at one place. So this is the other convergence that will take place. Anytime, any place, mobile learning, all right? From episodic to continuous learning. From learning only when you come to class to learning out anytime, everywhere. If you don't believe me, how many of you have got YouTubes and you learn from YouTube? See? Quite a few of you. From fixing the car to fixing your house to the new recipe, all right? And if it were to be believed, you know, just about a year ago, one so-called dentist learned how to do dentistry from YouTube. You know the case, all right? I'm not going to give it any life of its own because that person has been censured for it. But look, that person learned from YouTube, right? Now, what else? So we move from episodic to continuous learning all the time. And learning, let me go back one slide. Learning will become like playlists. You know, you have playlists for songs, all right? You have your favorite songs and you put it on your player or your CD. Learning will have the same thing too. What I want to learn, what you want to learn. So the playlist will begin. And personalization will become the norm. Once you have playlists, you will have personalization of learning. You know, why should I learn the way you teach me? The student will want to learn the way they want to learn, right? And we move forward with that. We go from grades to continuous feedback. Grades may not be the most important thing. How do you define a particular student with one single CGPA at the end of 4 years or 5 years? Is it good enough? Continuous feedback, because that single number is not the only thing that can define us. Our educator's job will also change from, you know, delivering to supporting. So from assigning to enticing of information, from conveyors to curators. We're going to shift. Our lecturers' jobs are going to shift. And at the same time, we're going to bridge through time and geographic divides, right? And with the various form of credentials, you will see that degrees, okay, we move from degrees to reputation matrices, and you'll see that from grades, we move to continuous feedback. So these are some of the shifts that you will see. Now, notice that I've been talking only about the shifts. I've not talked about the exact technology. But this is what technology will do to us. And IR 4.0 will make a lot of things very different. So please, don't be a dinosaur. Move forward with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kang. Now I would like to invite Mr. Aniq to actually give the introductory remarks about IR 4.0 and personalized learning.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Hello and good morning, everyone. It's so glad for me as a student representative being honored and then give an opportunity to sit here among all of you and then give a brief introductions about what is the IR 4.0. As a student and also a user, okay, for this kind of technologies, it's really give a big impact to the social, okay, community, especially us as a student. But as you know, we as a humans, okay, we talk as a human, ladies and gentlemen. Every day we kind of like getting changes, not about changes that occurs around us, but also we encounter changes inside ourselves. So meaning that sometimes we see that yesterday we do like this, and today we do like this, and another day we do different things based on atmospheres and everything. It also occurs in the technologies, because technologies is being created by human. When human is changes, what they created also changes. So meaning that if you can see on the past 100 years before, the IR 1.0 is actually a lot of things using, you know, like steams and waters to generate powers for the machines. But now, right now, they are integrated AI inside the IR 4.0, meaning that there are a lot of changes occurs among us. So meaning that if we, as Dr. Kang just now said, don't be a dinosaur. Because of what? Dinosaur extinct because of the atmosphere and then they cannot adapt to it. And then they die like that. We don't want to be like that. Meaning that we want to be a good, complex. And as a doctor, we know human is a complex, complex organism in the world. Meaning that we have the ability to change, to adapt. So in terms of this kind of technology coming to our life, we don't know how many years that we will live in, in the future. But let's say I live in 100 years after this. Maybe they won't be IR 4.0. Right now we're talking about IR 4.0. And then in the future we will talk about IR 5.0. Ultimately changed already. Meaning that the way that we want to adapt, we cannot use anymore the way we want to adapt during 4.0 to 5.0. So meaning that, ladies and gentlemen, every day is a changes. That's what my physics teacher told me. And then I realized, yes, it's changed everything. Meaning that any careers that we bring in this world, we must know that every day is a changing for me. Meaning that a new things come to my life, I need to be adapted, open-minded, and then see, can give a benefit to us or not? If it can, we need to utilize it very, very much. Especially we talk in IMU as a medical doctor, as anything, dentistry, pharmacist and everything, we should see that these things is actually ultimately will give us benefit. If we don't adapt to this kind of technology, surely we won't be the successful person in the future. Because of what? Because complex organism, us human, we have the ability to adapt and we have the ability to change us. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I would like to actually ask a question. How does Industrial Revolution or Education 4.0 differs from the previous version? That is IR1, IR2, IR3. So can I start with Dr. Munna first, please?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. Actually, we can focus on several issues here, or rather several characteristics. When we talk about the the content itself. So when we say the content arrangements, normally we don't really hear about technology much. That is from the Education 1.0. Then when we talk about Education 2.0, then we have this expert-generated content, meaning that we are the providers, we are the knowledge. We have all the knowledge, so we actually provide the content for them. But later on, it moved on to Education 3.0, whereby we have repurposing OER. So we thought that OER, Open Education Resources, is 4.0. It's not, it's 3.0. So we are moving. So we're moving towards what? Just now, Prof. Dr. Kang was mentioning about being curators. So instead of being co-curators, we are actually not curating anymore. We are actually user-generating. We are the one. The students themselves are generating their own learning. They are the active learners. They are the one who select and choose what they want to learn. So meaning that they are actually the experts in certain things. That's why we mentioned about the YouTube. And then we have Netflix. And in fact, when we talk about the convergence of technology, then meaning that at home, how many of you use Astro? Or few. Majority do not use Astro any longer. You call it that TV box, whatever box is that? Yeah, because why? You have Netflix there, you have YouTube there, you have the internet there, you have so many channels there. Astro is no longer the buzzword, no longer relevant, meaning that the word is relevant. So do you want to be relevant or irrelevant in the future? So that's why we cannot be a dinosaur. We have to move on. So now when we talk about the technology itself, technology used to be like 3.0 is ubiquitous, right? It's everywhere. Not now, it's not just everywhere. We can use it everywhere, anywhere, anyhow, and anyone, any platform. So we have moved on to the era itself. So when we talk about pedagogy, so when we look at the pedagogy itself, then we are moving towards andragogy. Heard about andragogy? Yes. How about heutagogy? Yes. We are no longer at heutagogy. It's peeragogy, meaning that students learn from peers. And then we talk about cyborgogy. cybergogy, okay? Using the, what do you call it, cyber out there, cloud computing and so on. And another word that is not new, but an old word, which is technology. Heard about that? So we use about the what do you call it, learning of technology to use, or what do you call it, to spread our knowledge and whatnot. So that's the reason why we learn from YouTube. So I learn from YouTube. So we cannot stand still. So we are the one who actually put in the effort to learn. The students themselves also have to not be co-curators, but they create their own learning. Not just being self-deterministic, but more than that. So not being self-directed learning, that's where you have disruptive learning. So we have moved on from disruptive learning. I'm like, disruptive learning, I'm just that, you know, I haven't moved on, but we have to. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
I think same question to Dr. Kang.
Can you repeat the question?
How does Industrial Revolution or Education 4.0 differs from the previous version, that is Industrial Revolution 1, 2, and 3?
I think the previous speaker has stated it very aptly. She's taken words right out of my mouth earlier. So the only thing I can add is, with IR 4.0 and with technology, we know we can do a lot of things. Then I will challenge you, are you doing it? Then I will also ask the next question. Just because you can do it, does that mean you should do it? I'm basically taking a step back. Just because you can use technology, does it mean you should do it? Where does technology fit in our lives? Should technology overtake and consume our lives, or should it be an aid to assist our lives? That is my question. That's my 4.0. The bit that we are missing is that we are using technology in everywhere. How many of you have been walking up and down the aisles with the little small screen in front of your faces and not knowing what is coming up next in front of you? How many of you dare admit that you look at your phone while you're driving? And I'm not talking about using Waze as a direction finder. Okay? I'm talking about reading messages, responding to the phone, or interacting with it a little bit more than you should while driving. Okay, you know where I'm heading now. So, where is technology? Just because you can do it, but should you? That's the humanistic part of it. That's the ethical part of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you don't want to do it, you don't. Right? That's the dinosaur answer behind it. I don't want to change. I don't want to change. But in IR 4.0, there are many convergences. There are many implementations and how it's going to change our lives. Will you allow it? To what extent you must stay in control? Now, I'm going to lead you to another set of mini-series. Have you heard of Black Mirror on Netflix? If you have Netflix, you probably have seen them advertising Black Mirror. It's a very interesting series, 5 seasons already. What is Black Mirror? If you take your phone out and flip your phone out, but don't turn it on, this is your Black Mirror. Black Mirror. 5 seasons. Wonderful show. I have to quickly admit that I own none of those shows. I do not invest. I don't have shares in Netflix or any one of those shows. But excellent, because it shows how technology converges in your life and how it upsets you. Every single episode is world class. And that's very, very rare. Okay? Have a look at that. Because it brings technology and opens your mind and tells you, should we do this? Should we do that? All right? And that's where I see technology going wrong. If you want to see an example of where technology is going wrong, look at Netflix's Black Mirror. There are 5 seasons. Every season has between 6 to 3 episodes, and each of them are excellent. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Aniq. Could you actually also differentiate the IR 4.0 with others like IR 4.2, 2.0, 3.0. Okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've been so small here because two panel discussion among me. It's like I've already give a lot of answers and everything. But I'm here to just like give a simple things as much as I could to make you understand as me as a student. Okay, because
Aniq, you have an advantage over us. You have the age factor.
okay. Thank you, by the way. I feel young here, although I'm young. Okay, so basically, you see, as I told before, right? In IR 1.0, a lot of machines they made everything is generated by steam power, by water power, So during that time, like Ford, Ford cars, and some of the trains are generated by that. So if we ask, they already die actually, we cannot ask. Okay, so if we do research and everything, so we can see those pictures, those cars and everything. During that time, the people will see, wow, moving cars. Oh my God, I never seen it. Because before that, they use what? They use horse. They use, like animals, donkeys to bring their stuff and everything. And then when they change it, they ultimately change, like from moving animals to like moving machines. And they was like, oh my God, I love it so much. I want to buy it and everything. You see, that is IR 1.0. Then after that, they're moving on to IR 2.0. Oh, what is IR 2.0? Oh my God. Is this term made by human or just like to make sure that, okay. So IR 2.0 is actually a mass production of assembly lines using electrical power. Boom, there's electrical power there. Thanks to, I don't remember his name. Okay, so the one who generated the electrical power bring change to human world, meaning that there's no steam anymore. But during that time, they doesn't use the electrical to generate make the machine to move. Yes, they move the machines, everything, but they didn't move the cars and those things. Okay, so basically, the electrical power is generated the lights here. Okay, during that time, Malaysians still using the lilian we call candles, but in Western country they already use the electrical power there. Okay, so we can see a Western world they changed a lot in compared to Eastern world. Then moving on to the third revolutionized industrial movement. So it's like automated production using electronic, programmable logic controllers and IT system and robotics. During this time we asked help from the robotics. It's like I still remember during my childhood, right, like 5 years, 6 years old, and then I see, oh my God, moms, what is that? Like moving hands, but there's no body. Like hands like that. In the ghost story, there's like one hand moving like that, So like I'm so scared, and then my mom said, no, it's like a robot. Oh my God, it's a robot, is it? It's like, I'm so into it, I want it so much, and then I asked my mom to buy it for me. And then after that, it's just like that, and I didn't use it during that time. So you see, we as my generation, right? So we kind of like curious. We want to know everything. We want to see everything. We want to mingle with everything. And then when we see these robotics things and everything, when people know how to use the robots, right? We are kind of, wow, can you teach me that? I want to know too and everything. So it's like that. During this time, during the IR 3.0, every kind of company, every kind of like, big cities and everything, they use these robotics to help them build those mega skyscrapers, build those big products and everything, such as Apple's, Google's and everything. But right now, we live in 2019. 2020 will be merged to the new era, the new world. We already have IR 4.0. So what is IR 4.0 is? So we already moving to the steam part, we already moving to the electrical part, we already moving to the robotic part, and then right now we are actually using AI. What is AI? It's like artificial intelligence. It's like, the biggest organ that controls the human body, I think all of us know, right? I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's actually the brain. In our brain, they control everything. And some part of it. Okay. So basically, this brain when we generated inside the robotic, they are already AI, artificial intelligence. We generated the codes and everything, and then make these robotics to work by themselves. Once before we have robot, what is actually being, how to say, we are the one who actually use it and everything, control it. But right now, they are controlling themselves. It's a lot of debate about these things. Meaning that if we merge AI into our life, a human will be exist in the future. A lot of people say that, oh my God, we cannot put AI, later we will die. No more human. My God, if we don't have, how can an AI will be there? Meaning that we are the one who create that. And then some of the groups, some of the human here, they see the benefit of AI, they want to bring it to our education, making it ED 4.0. Okay? So I think I will talk about it later if I give a question about it. So that how we can see how the AI is merged there, meaning that we are changes a lot of things. And then, ladies and gentlemen, remember as I told you, if we doesn't take the opportunity to adapt and change, trust me, we will be the one who will not exist anymore in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Just to add on, actually, we will exist, right? But someone who knows better technology or AI will actually replace us, right? Okay, my next question is actually how, to Dr. Muna first, how IR 4.0 impact personalized learning? Based on your experience, you could share some of your...
Because at first I was asked to do personalized learning and sharing of the experience that we went through. When we talk about the impact of 4.0 on education, we see that it has impacted a lot, in fact, whereby when we look at competitions itself, okay, we have a lot of competition that actually embraces technology, that embraces the IR 4.0. And that's where actually we see a lot of this competition going on because they want to showcase what they have. But when we talk about the impact, am I on the right track? I sort of forgot because there are so many questions there. Sorry again. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, personalized. Yeah. All right. Okay. So when we talk about just now, our student here, who is very eloquent in what he says, when we talk about that, my student actually, what she did was using AI, artificial intelligence in case-based reasoning, whereby you use the AI to check on the profile of the students. Whereby the profile of the students, we use the best case in the sense that whoever is in this particular learning style, together with their actually, let's say, results from SPM or doing quizzes and whatnot, and it will direct to a specific way of learning. That's where the personalized learning comes in. However, it's not so much of the personalized learning nowadays. Because when we talk about students, they themselves actually go and search for the information. And not only that, when they search for the information, the way that they think is very different from how we think. Because they are the ones who are in the, what you call it as the digital era when they were born. We've heard of the term digital natives and immigrants. That is so weird because I don't feel like an immigrant. So, because they came into our world, right? So anyway, when we talk about personalized learning also, we have another product that we built, which is the Ivy Fit, which is the intelligent virtual fitness. We can use this for health studies. I'm not from the science, okay? I'm from the non-science. So meaning that we are actually people who apply it. We do not create it. We can curate, but we do not create it. So somehow it needs to be embedded into our curriculum, the digital know-how, or how people use digital technologies. So coming back to what Ivy Fit is all about, in there, they have the AI there impacted in a way that when you have about Fitbit, because mine is Mi Fit, not but what do you call it, the whatever, this one, the wearables, all right? So it will track our, what do you call it, number of steps and so on and so forth. So this particular app that we created actually will allow us to see what kind of trainers we want. The trainers in the sense that we want someone, because if we are sedentary, then this is the trainer that we want to make sure that during our time, we do not want to spend so much money on going to the gym. So we learn through the virtual trainer. So people learn through virtual trainers and virtually, whereby they can use the head-mounted display and they can do that. Some people will say that it is really, what do you call it, hindering them. But that's okay. We don't want that. You don't have to use that. Then in that system itself also, because of our profile, it will tell us what to eat. So that has impacted our lives in the sense that how we eat, being healthy, being non-sedentary. Another one is Train Me. That is also training and then looking at all the calories that we actually consume and what we need to do. So that is some of the things that has impacted. We have things that impacted as in what you call it, the technology, the what you call it, the instructional design, the also the what you call it, the forgive me, the what you call it, the personalized learning method. And when we talk about pedagogy, we talk about disparate learning, and then we talk about making sure that we are online learners. So that has impacted. Okay, so I'm going to stop here first before I ramble on. Okay.
Thank you. Same question to Dr. Kang. How actually IR 4.0 actually impact personalized learning?
Okay, I'm not going to talk about personalized learning in the first minute. I'm going to talk about personalized shopping. How many of you have done personalized shopping? Or how many of you have not shopped on Lazada, Amazon, Zalora, and God knows what else is out there? How do these companies manage to track and offer you the next offering in which you definitely want to click and say yes, especially when there's a discount, 9th of 9 discount, 10th of 10 discount, and the next one will be 11th of November discount. Trust me, it'll be there, right? How does it track you, right? That's a tracker. Just like what Dr. Mona has said, she's got a Me Fit tracker. There's a tracker there. Whether you go to Amazon or any of the online shopping, there is a tracker. We also have trackers here in education. The trackers in education is the LMS, the Learning Management System. So just imagine a learning management system that's all-encompassing, knows what you're doing. Okay, you don't have to enter what you're doing. It knows, it can detect, it's a bit smart, it's machine learning. It adds it into its diary of activities or competencies that you have learned, and it builds up a profile of you. Just like when you go and do online shopping, it builds up a profile of the things you love to shop. All right? Or like in Facebook, if you go to Facebook, it knows the things you like to read. And it gives you more of the same, not less of the non-same thing. It knows what you want. So in personalized learning, I think that's what we need. Some form of tracker, some form of, learning management system that tracks it, that moves from device to device that you can carry with you. It could be on a website or a device or your computer, and it records. And it becomes literally your learning portfolio, because all of us are continuously learning. We keep up this portfolio and we release this portfolio whenever we want to whomever the employers that we are meeting. And I think that's what will happen in IR 4.0. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Aniq, I will slightly change the question, okay? I want to know your wish list when it comes to personalized learning and IR 4.0. Okay?
Okay, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, my wish list, okay, for personalized learning is actually, okay,
No
frankly,
exams?
Huh?
No exams?
I have exams. Oh, no exams?
Your
No,
wish
no.
list.
No. I love exams. You asked wrong person. Okay, so basically, for my wish list for personalized learning, right? Okay, so I'm talking about like physically, okay, and then the virtually. So for my physically, I want a lot. I mean, I want a big computer, you know, like Big Mac, and then I want, you know, such place only for me. You know, if I go to university, okay, this place is for me, Aniq only. So I then sit there and then I study there. No one will disturb me. I don't go to QSA anymore. I didn't go to collect anymore. And then like, it's really, really frustrated me, stressed me out. When I go back home and then you know what, I didn't study, I sleep in. So how it's like, if I go to university, student will be saying, and then if I go to home, I will sleep. So how? So I want a place just for me. That's my wish list. Physically, Big Mac one, if your university can provide it, okay? Okay, then the next one, virtually. Okay, this I'm saying about virtually, I think is important. Once before doing my, how to say, primary school, right? From standard 1 to standard 6, my mom provide me this one platform known as a Score A. Okay, if you heard about it, it's a good platform, by the way. It's for student from standard 1 to form 5. So basically what is a Score A is actually, Score A is actually a platform where the student can access their own knowledge there. So they have like a book of questions there and everything for this kind of student. And trust me, a lot of students use that. A lot of them already excel. Not just excels in their academic, but they actually excel in their life. I'm the one of the product. Okay, so I'm not bragging myself, by the way. So the thing is, okay, in the Score A, they also have a teacher there. You know, like during that time, you know, during standard 1, we learn in class. Okay, like Dr. Kang says, class. Okay, there's a one teacher and 100 students there. Okay, I'm physically like that, you know. And then when I go home, I meet my teacher, but my teacher inside the computer. You know, cannot touch. I can touch the screen only when I, you know, scratching his or her cheek. He cannot feel me. So it's like, be there. During that time, we never know what is it. But there's a face of human like that. Okay? Only after that time, I know that one is named as a chatbot. So every question I ask there, they will answer me and everything. So you see, during that time, although IR 4.0 is not that, you know, knowledgeable by the whole world, but I already exposed to it. My generation already exposed to it. So we kind of like love to learn by self. It's actually good. Why? Because of why? Because we are actually have initiative to learn by self. You know, every single day when we meet the teacher, sometimes I ask silly questions. Even I ask my Siri, hello Siri, do you love me? I don't have that question. I don't have the answer for that. Like, you know, we feel bored, you know. We want to ask someone, like, hello Google, do you love me? Yeah, I love you. What do you do today? Like that, you know, some silly question. Okay, but trust me, ladies and gentlemen, don't do that during, you know, you're working, or else someone will, you know, capture you. Oh, you have scandals. Okay, so basically, for my personalized learning, right, I already exposed to that kind of thing. And then when I grow up, I kind of like want to expose myself a lot of more. Is there any kind of platform more than Score A, okay, that I can use it to, you know, make myself more, you know, intelligent, make myself more wiser and everything. So I kind of like see a platform as a YouTube, okay, as Dr. Mona says and Dr. Khan says, YouTube, Netflix, all those kind of thing and everything. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, every action that you take, every platform that you have, they have a pros and cons. It reflects back to us, okay? If you want to use it wisely, if you want to use it good, so basically we already gain a benefit from it, okay? All the resources that are being given by IR 4.0 is actually affected a lot of our life, okay? In learning, they are actually affected psychomotor, cognitive, and also they are actually our affective. These three things are really important in learning. So basically after they affected this, right? So as a student, I can say it's really, really initiate my creativity. That is the most important thing for human nowadays. If they didn't have this such called creativity, trust me, in the future, you will know what I will say. Okay? So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take one question from the audience. Anyone would like to ask any question? Yes.
Thank you, Hasnain. my question is that our children are exposed to technology at an early age. So what do you think? Is it good or bad?
Oh, I'm in dangerous ground right now. Okay. We all grew up in the era of vaccines, and we've all been vaccinated. Is that good or bad? There are two sides to the answer, obviously. So if we grow up with technology, it becomes the norm for them. So do they know how to live without technology? I think some of them would, some of them can't. Some of them depend on it, some of them won't. And I think that's the beauty of adaptability and humankind. Okay? As we go on, some of us would use less technology. Some of us become more dependent on it. There's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong. And we all adapt. And that's the beauty of it. Would you like to answer?
Yeah, I would like to answer that a little bit because I tend to agree about the example of vaccination. But let me go into my own personal way of looking at this. When we talk about technology, young kids, especially when we have someone like that, who likes to be touching people on screen. Ooh, that is dangerous. But if you're angry with someone of your teachers, knock, 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 then that's, at least you can get over that anxiety or anger. That's fine. But my son, personally, he learned through animes. That is technology, isn't it? From TVs, from videos. And from animes, how to speak Japanese. He is fluent in speaking Japanese. Very good. He buys the original videos and games, and you know what he did? Actually, he loans it in class. And he actually is a very young entrepreneur. Yeah. Even the teacher knows about it, and the teacher was encouraging him. When I went to Japan, he was our spokesperson. We said, try your Japanese, because he doesn't speak with anyone. He just watch, right? But suddenly, when the train master, even the counter receptionist, they say, hey, your Japanese is very good. Be our spokesperson. So, that is one of the positive things that I see. My other daughter, when she was 4, at that time, many eons ago, and she was doing like word art. What happens? She's studying now artificial intelligence. It's not because of me, okay? We are rivals, USM and UM. She wants to go to UM, not USM. Okay, but it's all right. So these are some of the things when they are born with technology, they are actually indirectly very used to it. But alhamdulillah, because even though the technology is dead, like I mentioned earlier, embrace the technology. And in fact, don't let the technology dictate us, okay? So what I'm trying to say is that there are positives, there are negatives in a sense, depending on how you look at things. Now, when you go to the kitchen, when you have all this, connectivity that's going on, do you like it? If you're in your living room, you have even your phone to be a remote control, do you like it? How many of you go to the TV and change channels? No longer. Or you go to the computer itself and then start going from one place to another. No, not necessary. So there are things that there are positive and negative. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Munna. Aniq, a very quick one, right?
Okay, very quick one. Okay, so basically for me, I said it's good. Okay, yeah. The thing is, we need to see in two perspectives. Okay, kids' perspective, parents' perspective. Okay. We cannot say if we give only to the kids, okay, you go away, I want to make my things. Don't be like that. As a parent, although IR 4.0 already, come to our world and everything, it's still not changed the reality of a parent. They still need to teach. They still need to be there when the kids need them. Meaning that maybe during that time, okay, you can mingle with your kids, okay, I don't have kids anymore. Not yet. Sorry, not anymore.
Are you married?
No, I'm not. Okay. I'm still single. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so basically, we mingle with those kids, and then we open any tabs or whatever, and then we learn with them. Okay, this is A, this is B, this is C, and so on to Z. Okay, so during that time, it's actually we using the resource that we have to mingle with our kids. Once before, my grandmother mingled with my mom's house. Like, okay, come, we go to gardens, we plant a lot of things and everything, you know. And then some of them going to, you know, market, buy something. That's how they mingle with their kids. But nowadays, times are really crucial, meaning that we don't have much time. We need to go there, and then all of us, in front of me, ladies and gentlemen, you are working adults, meaning that you don't have much time. Sometimes you go to your working home at 8, and then, sorry, not working home, working place at 8, and then you come back at 5, and then you like stuck in the traffic jam about 2 hours, and then you come home, and then your mom, and then some of your child already sleep and everything, so you don't have much time. You just have time during weekends, and then how you gonna use it very wisely? So basically, you use the resource that you have to be them. That's how you can control them to make sure that they are being a good user. You expose to them on how you use it. So in the future, when they become an adults, they won't say, my mom exposed this thing to me, without a proper show on how to use it. So we already show it, we already have let them know how to use it, and we already, play our role as a mom and dad. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, so I would like to thank all the panels, and I think please do catch up with them and talk to them later on. And to just summarize, like, I think we need to humanize, you know, the technology, and we need to pick up like key skills to survive in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0. With that, I end and pass to MC.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Professor Vishna to present a token of appreciation to the speakers. Speaker 2, Associate Professor Dr. Mona Masood. Speaker 1, Associate Professor Dr. Kang Beng. Speaker 3, Muhammad Aniq Halim. And the moderator, Mr. Hasnain Zafar.